AI companies have already used millions of songs without permission to train these models. Many people believe it should be illegal, but it actually might not be, because they're operating in a legal loophole that most people don't understand. I'm not just someone that worked for the music industry, not just an AI person, not just a pianist. I've lived on all sides. I have such a conflicted reaction about AI generated music because I know what it means when a human creates, and I know what it means when a machine predicts. So when people ask me, what do I really think about AI in music, or AI musicians like Xania Monet, it's not the story the musicians want to hear, nor is it the story the AI companies want to admit either. One moment they're in court arguing that AI music is infringement, the next, they're cutting licensing deals and buying equity into the very startups they're suing. To artists, it feels like the ground is shifting under their feet. I want to introduce you to Xania Monet, an AI-generated music artist that just won a $3 million record deal. Her music is made with Suno as the core generator, with some live elements layered in, though it's not clear what. And if you haven't heard her yet, go look her up after this video, because when you listen, you're gonna notice something really interesting. It actually sounds good. It's polished, it's radio ready, but if you pay attention, the songs don't really arrive anywhere. They drive forward, but there's no arc, no resolution. It's essentially music that fills the space, but doesn't stay with you once it's over. Let's rewind a little. I started playing piano when I was only 2 years old. At 16, I recorded my first full album of entirely original music, which you can still find on Spotify. Embarrassing. By 18, I had a scholarship to study under professors from Peabody and St. Petersburg Conservatory. And by 19, I was writing music for orchestras. Studying this way and hearing something you composed come alive with strings, brass, flutes, that's when you realize music is not just sound, it's architecture. It's math and emotion fused together so you can start to see sound, but I was missing the business side. So straight out of college, I worked at Sony Music in New York City, and my job wasn't recording artists in the studio, it was copyright compliance. I had to dig into who owned the rights to a song, make sure royalties were paid, and prevent lawsuits when artists sampled each other. That's where I saw the entire machine that keeps the music industry running. The lawsuits, the royalties, the fragile balance behind every hit song. Labels are treating this as the future, which forces us to ask the question, how is this even possible? Because music like this doesn't just appear out of thin air. These models are trained on millions of copyrighted songs. So the moment we ask, who owns the data that trained this? You're talking about someone's royalties, someone's livelihood, someone's entire life's work. And that's exactly where the copyright lawsuits begin. Most people don't realize every song actually has 2 copyrights. The first is the sound recording, the exact performance by the artist, usually owned by the label. And the second is the musical composition, the melody, lyrics, and notes, usually split between multiple songwriters and publishers. So even if a label licenses its catalog to an AI startup like some recent news suggests, that doesn't magically cover every copyright holder. That's why these blanket deals being discussed with Suno and Udio, for example, are far more complicated than the headlines suggest. And AI companies have already used probably millions of songs without permission to train these models. The most obvious argument AI companies make is fair use. They're claiming the training is transformative because the model is using the copyrighted data, but using those patterns to generate something completely new. Fair use is why rap artists are often able to sample each other without legal repercussions. This is exactly the same deal. But that's not the real battleground. The bigger legal gray zone is actually around distribution. Copyright law was built to stop unauthorized distribution of works, selling, streaming, or broadcasting copies without permission. AI companies argue this isn't distribution at all. They're arguing there's a difference between publicly distributed copyrighted works versus privately used within a company. This is huge because traditional US copyright law really only focuses on public distribution, not private internal use. And they argued that the copyrighted material was being used for internal knowledge with no intention of it being repeated or regurgitated publicly. That's a gray zone the law was never designed to handle, and it's the loophole they're relying on. What do you think? Do you think it's copyright infringement, or does the copyright loophole make sense? Now, the courts have leaned one way, but the US Copyright Office has gone in the exact opposite direction. It issued a decision in May 2025 saying that in most cases, training AI on copyrighted works is infringement. On top of that, the Copyright Office also ruled that AI-generated outputs themselves can't be copyrighted, meaning they fall into the public domain unless a human significantly alters them. Now, guidance from the Copyright Office isn't technically law, but courts are supposed to follow their advice, and they aren't. Courts leaning one way, the Copyright Office leaning the other, every AI-generated track sitting in legal limbo, and while the lawyers argue over definitions, musicians are left wondering if their work is free training data, creating millions of AI tracks that no one can even say for sure who owns, and the effects are already here. AI companies avoid the specifics. They talk about respecting artists, but refuse to reveal exactly what's in their training data sets. Music is essentially math, so let's break it down technically. The first is AI keeps everything too even. It plays perfectly on the grid, but humans don't. We naturally push a little faster during a climax, change volume without even thinking. AI can't really do that. It gives you consistency with no expression, so it feels more like a march more than anything. Second, real music has shape. It rises, it falls, it modulates, it surprises you. And yeah, music has a lot of rules, but when a composer deliberately chooses to break one, that's what makes a piece stick in your memory. AI can sometimes handle a simple pop progression, but it doesn't create the kind of arcs in a well-written song that you're going to remember in a week. But I think the biggest is silence. AI doesn't know when not to play. Musicians do. That space is as musical as the notes themselves, but AI doesn't understand that. It only understands write the notes. Scroll Spotify or TikTok and AI tracks are already blended into playlists with human ones, often without labels, and most people don't notice. Some don't care, but the sheer flood of content makes it harder and harder to know what's authentic. This is the fallout. Even before the law catches up, the culture is already changing, and in this world that to me is already too digital, I don't know if that's the future I want for myself, but do you think fans will even care whether a track is AI or human as long as it sounds good? Now, here's where I land. AI music isn't going away. And in some cases, it actually makes sense. It's fantastic for demos. If you're a songwriter and you want to sketch out an idea, AI can give you a rough backing track in minutes. Want to mash reggae or heavy metal? AI can generate those what-if scenarios instantly, no waiting for studio time. It works really well for background tracks, YouTube intros, ads, TikToks, places where you need sound to fill the space. And it's also really good if you can't afford the fancy studios to make music and create something in your living room that you otherwise wouldn't be able to do. But here's where it can't go. No AI can replicate original art. Great performers and songwriters know when to break rules, when to linger in silence, how to shape a phrase so the same piece feels alive in completely different ways. That's interpretation. That's what makes music alive. AI cannot interpret. No AI is going to replace the concert hall. Live music is about risk, the chance that something magical happens or something goes wrong. It's about the sound that vibrates through your body, and AI will never do that. And finally, no AI can replace cultural meaning or emotions. Protest songs, love ballads, anthems that define generations. Those come from lived experience and pain. AI cannot emit strong emotions into any piece of music it generates. So yes, AI music has a place, and honestly, I'd love to be part of the teams building it, not to replace musicians, but to make sure it's used responsibly. Because if we're not careful, we risk flooding the world with disposable sound while starving out the very thing that makes music human. So what do I really think about AI in music? I think it's powerful as a tool and dangerous as a substitute. It can generate sound, it can fill the background, but it can't generate soul. Because at the end of the day, music isn't just notes on a page or files in a data set. AI can fill space, but only humans can make music. And that's what I want to leave you with. Would you ever pay to sit through an AI-only concert, or is music only music when it comes from us? Do you think it's copyright infringement, or does the copyright loophole make sense? Let me know what you think in the comments. This was such a difficult video for me to do, to be honest. I feel like the pianist side of me has kind of gone dormant recently, but music is such a big part of my life, and I'm so passionate about this topic.